The Lord of the Rings of Power. See, that's just too many words. Like, look, I'm just gonna refer to it as the Rings of Power going forward. I know Lord of the Rings, that's the name brand and all. That's what Amazon's paying the big bucks for. But it's the mouthful, okay? I'm not even gonna put that in my title. So, Rings of Power it is. Anyways, the first 2 episodes of the Rings of Power are now available on Prime Video. But actually, they came out last Thursday. I kind of just sat on it for about a week. If you have not seen the first 2 episodes yet and are not caught up with the show, you might want to go and do that. If you have Amazon Prime, guess what? You have Prime Video. I don't know if you knew that, but The Boys is on there and Invincible. Now we have the Rings of Power. But does this show live up to the hype and the epicness of Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy? I gotta see more episodes, but stay tuned for my review of the first 2. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hez Project. I'm John Ordalaza, and today I'm reviewing the first 2 episodes of The Rings of Power. It's the brand new series from Amazon that is centered around the Lord of the Rings universe. We're back in Middle-earth. It is set, in the Second Age or something? I don't remember. It is a prequel just like its competitor right now in House of the Dragon. That show is set 200 years before the events of Game of Thrones. Now, this show is set years and years and years before the events of The Lord of the Rings and even The Hobbit. So I'm very intrigued to see what this show has to offer. But the first 2 episodes are here, and what did I think about them? I thought they were kind of, okay, like they were good, I heard a lot of people talk about the first 2 episodes in the last few days, as I literally just watched them today on Wednesday. It is a very slow-paced first 2 episodes, and it's not as epic, of course, but you gotta give it time, because this is a series now. This is a series. Those movies directed by Peter Jackson back in the day were, oh my god, they're like almost 20 years old now, holy crap. But those movies back in the day, they were 3 to 4 hour epics, and they had a story to be told, and they had very intriguing characters that you just kind of fell in love with almost instantly. So even if there wasn't crazy action set pieces going on the big screen, you had these dynamic characters taking you along scene by scene and just creating an enjoyable adventure. That's the reason why I love the Lord of the Rings movies. I'm not the biggest Tolkien head. I have never read the books. My knowledge is on the movies and what other super nerds tell me about, but I really enjoy those movies, and I was looking forward to this because a series format set in this universe. I'm surprised to say that it has a lot more of Peter Jackson's vibes in it, and I really love that. The vibe and the scope of the show is epic as from the environments to the costume designs to the music, man. It's all beautiful and it's just well put together. It's not this sloppily thrown mess of a TV show because, we got to capitalize on Lord of the Rings. We haven't done anything with Lord of the Rings in like years, so we got to capitalize on it. No, there was love poured into this project, and I can see it, I can feel it, and I can only hope that it's just going to continue more and more as we get more episodes every week on Prime Video. I'm looking forward to the show. However, I just want to zero in on these few episodes, these 2 that we got, and just talk about, man, like they were kind of underwhelming. They're very slow. They're building up a story, it seems, but it's hard for me to grab and grasp where they're gonna go. There's a lot of issues. And let's start with Galadriel for a second. The actress who plays her is phenomenal, without a doubt. I just don't really care about anything she's doing in these first 2 episodes. Like, yeah, she's got this vendetta against Sauron. She's got like crazy resources, it seems, with these crazy freaking armor set pieces. They look amazing, but man, what the hell was she doing in that second episode, though? She could not stand on a boat to save her life. She was on a boat with her soldiers and her army. She fell off because a big bright light knocked her off. Then she's stranded in the middle of the ocean. Then this other boat picks her up, and they're like, "Who are you? Why were you out here?" And then somehow they lose her, and now she's back in the water again. And then she finds this raft with a dude on it, and the dude picks her up. She just went from smaller boat to smaller boat, and then she fell off again. Luckily, this dude picked her up and saved her. And that's all she did in this second episode. She just kept falling in water and was drenched for an hour. So needless to say is Galadriel comes across as a bumbling buffoon to me, especially in that second episode. It just nothing really came across very well on that screen. It was just like she was falling. She was a damsel in distress, and she kept just falling. It was just not entertaining, not an engaging character so far. I don't understand her motives really, other than just to find Sauron. Like, I don't care at the moment. Now let's talk about Elrond is his name. Like, he's a pretty cool character. I like the actor. I think he's a really good actor in the show, and I like him interacting specifically in the second episode with the dwarves. Once he goes to the dwarf kingdom, it looks like they have this whole mountain kind of caved and carved out with tunnels and bridges. It looks really intricate and awesome looking. And dude, the music that just swelled up when he reunites with the dwarves and they're showing him around, like, that music was so magical. And that was the scene when we're getting the tour, the ultimate inside tour of the dwarf kingdom. That moment, that scene really brought me back and invoked the vibes and feelings of the Lord of the Rings films directed by Peter Jackson. That was the really only time that I got goosebumps watching these first two episodes. It was that scene, because man, those dwarves back then are dope. They're epic, man. The whole thing about freaking Lord of the Rings for me are the hobbits and the dwarves, because they're so awesome. They're funny, they're charismatic, and they just carry it for me. They're like the underdogs, and it looks like those same character traits and themes are going to be carried over with these dwarves. Of course, these dwarves precede the ones that we saw in the films, because it's a prequel, but nonetheless, I really enjoyed that scene, and I want to see more of these dwarves. They were just chomping away at these giant stones. They were kind of like having a competition with Elrond to see who caves first, who can't break the next stone. I don't know. It was simple but effective. There's a lot of other things in this show that tried to be simple and they just weren't effective. They were quite literally falling flat into water like Galadriel. Then we get introduced to, I believe, the hobbits, like the early existence of hobbits in here. You have, what's her name? Nori. She's the main hobbit that they like to focus on, and it's a really cool little environment. I like that we immediately got introduced to these people, this tribe of little hobbits. They were hiding from the travelers, and they kind of just came out of the ground, have like a little early settlement. It's not the crazy advanced little onion-shaped houses that they had back then, not back then, but in the Lord of the Rings movies, obviously 20 years ago, after the events of the show. Prequels, am I right? It's hard to talk about prequels, but yeah, it's a very early settlement for the hobbits, and I enjoyed their interactions with one another. I enjoyed the hobbits. They're very warm and comforting people in this crazy world of Middle Earth, and I enjoy them. So the main hobbit, Nori, she encounters this burned down village, and she sees a man laying down on this crazy looking, it looks like a mini volcano, and he's a giant. Obviously he's a normal sized human being. He's like 3 times the size of Nori. I'm just saying, out of my curiosity, what is this guy supposed to be? Like a wizard, maybe? I don't know. Like, what if this is like a young Gandalf the Grey, or another wizard of some sort? Because they're that size. I haven't seen anybody else as big. I mean, the other Earthlings. I don't know what this could be. This guy seems to have control and some sort of power and control over nature. It's wild, dude. I don't know how to explain it. I'm excited to see. Like, there's a lot of intrigue to be had with this show in these first 2 episodes, but there were just some things that they chose to focus on specifically that I wasn't on board with. It wasn't grabbing me. It's not as intriguing as I'd like it to be. Or it's not as intriguing as the other stuff, the smaller things going on the sidelines. Yeah, so I don't know what they're going to do with Galadriel, or when exactly these rings are going to be forged and how exactly they're going to be forged. I don't know if they have been yet. I don't think so. But I don't know if you guys have noticed, I kind of breezed over episode 1. Everything that I liked that I just mentioned kind of stems from episode 2. Episode 1 is a very slow-paced thing, and I wasn't on board with it, you know? Like, it's got cool thematic things going on. The set pieces and the costume designs and the acting is what really carries the show for me. But they just did not get the ball rolling. What really kind of bugged me, and I heard a lot of people say this, and when I finally saw the episode, I was like, oh my god, I feel this. I see this, and I'm like, what the hell? And it was the intro with Sauron's boss, like the higher up above Sauron was introduced and just like grazed over. They just did not really show him or anything. They showed this giant glowing tree that a giant freaking black cloud just loomed over and then took it. Was like Nope, essentially. And it was in this montage in the beginning. They summed up the dopest things to have happened in the first episode in a matter of like 3-4 minutes. And then they proceeded to just have Galadriel and her people climb a mountain, go into this giant cave. They encountered a beast. She slayed that beast so epically. It was absolutely incredible. But other than that, that was like 30 seconds of dopeness in an over 60-minute episode. And I can't tell you honestly what else happened in that episode. We got introduced to other people, the elves, like the main elf guy. I don't know his name. He's the one with the fade. Like, it looks dope. It's their motives, though. I'm not vibing with them at the moment. I'm vibing more with Nori and this freaking godlike dude who could be a wizard. That's my theory at the moment. Don't push me, Tolkien fans. I'm just theorizing. Don't know. I don't read that stuff, but that's my theory. I'm more intrigued in that side of things, and I'm more intrigued in the dwarves and Elrond. I'm not really into the Galadriel thing at the moment, and that's a shame because I think she's supposed to be the main character. I think. The budget. You're definitely seeing the budget, of course. This is the most expensive show of all time. Yeah, it is. Like, ridiculous. Let me know down below, what did you think about the first 2 episodes of The Rings of Power, and does it live up to your own expectations? If you're a big Tolkien fan or not, you're just a casual person who really enjoys those Lord of the Rings movies. Let me know down below what you think about it. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I will be reviewing episodes 3 and 4 of She-Hulk tomorrow, as well as House of the Dragon episodes 3 and 4 sometime early next week, because Cobra Kai season 5 is right around the corner. It's coming out Friday. I'm gonna need the weekend to watch that because that's a lot of episodes. So I will have a review for that, as well as House of the Dragon episodes 3 and 4 early next week. So be on the lookout for that, as well as Rings of Power episodes 3 and 4 when they drop. So stay tuned, guys, because there is more to come.